Hello and welcome to Research Matters podcasts. Today I, Aishwarya Vishwamitra, will give you a summary of science stories that were published during the week on Research Matters. In your weekly dose of Indian science news today, I cover stories on malnutrition, health, and mystery snails. While the recent coronavirus may have taken over the media, there are two rampant lifestyle diseases that pose a significant burden on India's healthcare system and needs attention too: diabetes and hypertension. Diabetes is an elevated level of glucose in the blood, and hypertension is when a person's blood pressure exceeds the healthy limit. It is one of the most chronic ailments in India. Having one of these diseases is difficult enough. Imagine having both. A study done by researchers from Chennai's MV Hospital for Diabetes and Professor M. Vishwanathan Diabetes Research Center, a third of people with high blood pressure are prone to diabetes in their later years. Furthermore, in patients with both diabetes and high blood pressure, the risk of cardiovascular diseases increases by 75%. This combination often results in end-stage renal disease as well. Health complications aside, these patients incur higher healthcare costs. Their period of hospitalization increases as compared to diabetic individuals without hypertension, leading to 1.4 times the cost. Apart from this, in cases with renal disease, dialysis or kidney transplantation is also required, and the cost of which is much higher than medications. Given that almost 70% of the Indian population is below the poverty line, it is estimated that about 90% of Indians cannot afford either of these treatments, costing their lives. Action needs to be taken in the form of awareness, frequent health checkups, better medical insurance policies, and government support for individuals suffering from these diseases. Some diseases, on the other hand, are hidden. A rise of malnutrition, also called hidden hunger, has been seen in tribal communities across India, possibly because of the shift to a monotonous diet. This needs to be combated by a diverse diet consisting of the specific indigenous foods known and accessible to these communities, which would fulfill the micronutrient need. A study done by the Indian Institute of Public Health, Delhi, characterized the indigenous food environment of tribal communities with the aim of designing effective and affordable diet plans for them. They found that the indigenous green leafy vegetables were rich in micronutrients, including iron, beta-carotene, and calcium. But why then is malnutrition rampant? The researchers focused on the Saurya Pahadiyas, a mountain-dwelling tribe and one of the most nutritionally deprived ones. They found that the tribe had a treasure trove of indigenous knowledge, but the diversity reflected in their knowledge was not translated into actual consumption. This could be due to many factors, including the food being found only in the jungle, making it difficult for the women to retrieve, as they have to take care of other household chores when men migrate to cities for work. They were not aware of the specific health and nutritional value of the indigenous foods, and so preferred readily available options in the market or subsidized food items offered by the government. In order to combat this, the researchers are compiling nutrition education materials with pictures of indigenous foods, their uses, their nutritive values, and recipes incorporating these foods, which the Anganwadi workers serving in the tribal areas can use to convince the locals. Mud snails, also known as mystery snails, are found throughout the world except in South America and Antarctica. A particular subfamily of this snail is found distributed throughout the Indian subregion. How did this subfamily form? Either the snails diversified from a common ancestral species from India, or there could have been multiple dispersal events from outside in. The latter theory is the correct one, found researchers from the Ashoka Trust for Research in Ecology and the Environment and the Indian Institute of Science. To do this, the researchers extracted and sequenced DNA from snails captured from different parts of India. They obtained the subfamily's genetic data from Asia, Africa, and Australia, along with related subfamilies from Europe and North America. They then compared all the obtained DNA sequences using a technique called molecular dating that helps to estimate the rate of changes in genetic sequences during evolution over time. They found that the snails colonized the Indian sub-region not once, but twice from Southeast Asia. The first happened when the two landmasses of Indian sub-region and Southeast Asia had not yet combined and the climate was warmer and humid. The second occurred during drier climatic conditions after the landmasses had sutured together. Maybe they say that snails move slowly, but they sure move far. Thank you for listening to this episode of Research Matters Podcasts. See you next weekend. To hear more such podcasts and news, please log on to www.researchmatters.in.